So when you like, you're just like a dude. Are you in a fraternity?
Yeah.
Which one?
A Pi.
What is it?
Alpha Epsilon Pi.
Yeah. Do you drink?
Yeah.
And you're just a dude, right? It's a white guy?
Yeah.
All right. What do you think about black people making too big of a deal over this? Well, not you, because I know you won't answer honestly. Tell me what other people around you think when you think about if this comes up like, yeah, black people are making a big deal out of this, or what do other people say?
Well, I see what's going on around, how police can judge other races. I'm Spanish, by the way, so
yeah,
I know what it feels to be a minority at the same time. So I don't know, what do you mean? What do you want me to
Nah, just so do you think about this stuff a lot, or are you just sort of whatever, I just want to drink and lift? Is it more I just want to drink and lift?
No, I see it, and I understand the whole thing, especially with race issues since the beginning in this country, you say, the 1960s. Protesting is being part of it, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, all right, so here's what I want you to do, bro. I want you to watch a video, okay? And then when you're done, here's the deal, okay? I want you to watch this video in the following state of mind. Here's what I'm thinking. What's your background, by the way?
What you mean?
Spanish?
Yeah.
From Spain, Spanish?
Yeah. Well, I'm from Panama.
From Panama? Okay.
I'm white.
But Spanish, yeah. So most people in the U.S. just don't get it. It's not about just killing, by the way. It's about violence. And it's about the threat of violence that is everywhere all the time. It's just constantly there. Less for you and I, because you might be from Panama, but you're not black Panamanian, right? Yeah. So you and I are basically white. The violence that's going to come at us is going to see us as white. And the question becomes, so it's not about killing. It's about all levels of violence and things that happen to people. And what I see all the time is that people just don't get the stories. They don't understand how you could, can you go to one more slide? They don't understand how you could get here. Look at all those dudes, man. Look at those guys. Look, you might say, yeah, they make a lot of money, they get this, that. Dude, how do you get to the place? How do you get to the place? I want to get you, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to this place. How do you get to the place where you're like, no, fuck this, no. This is unacceptable, right? What has to happen? How many videos do you have to watch? How many things do you have to see? How many conversations do you have to have with people before you finally say, no? Okay, so we're going to watch a video. And what I want you to do with I've researched this video a fair amount. The story that this person tells appears to be how it happened. And the police aren't really refuting it. So we're going to watch, so turn your chair around and watch this video.
I was coming back from the Wood and Nickel to get my dad a Father's Day gift. They were closed, it was Sunday, so I decided to turn back around and head home. It was about 103 degrees. I had 3 water bottles in my backpack, and I stopped right behind me, right by the sign, to take a sip, and then I turned around and there were 3 cop cars. And one of the officers already had a gun drawn at me. They asked me, was I inside the store? And I told them no. And then they asked me if I was sure. And I was like, yeah. I turned to another officer who was in front of me, Officer Vasquez. And I told him, I said, sir, what's going on? And then he was like, give me the backpack. And then I was like, do you have a warrant? And then he pointed behind me and he said, look. So I looked behind me and it was a big canine dog. And then I got scared, and then I was like, here, just take the backpack, just take the backpack. And then after that, he grabbed me by my wrist like this, and then he grabbed me by my neck, punched me, and then he threw me onto the ground, and then that's when the canine came and started eating at my leg. They rolled me around. Officer Vasquez put his knee in my back, and I told him I couldn't breathe, and then he put his other knee in my head, And I told him, I can't breathe, and then I started yelling out, somebody help me, they're gonna kill me. And then finally, he let me up, he tied my hands behind my back, and then he tied my feet together and he threw me in the back of the car. And on my way going back to the car, I heard somebody say, that's not the guy, that's not the guy.
Well, she actually called while she was in the hospital, and and I thought she was joking because she was like, Mom, I'm in the hospital, the police beat me, and a dog bit me.
I was like, wow. I'm like, let me talk to the officer. And so the officer got on the phone and I asked him what happened, and he told me that it was mistaken identity. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, you know, is she okay? And he was like, well, she's alive and she's in the hospital.
My daughter is a very responsible young lady. She works, she loves life. There was no reason for this to happen to her.
They never told me why they stopped me, but after they beat me and threw me in the cop car, that's when they told me, explained that there was some guy with a machete that was inside the grocery store and they were looking for him, and I matched the description.
She's not the same person since that happened. You know, I brought her here the other day because we were looking for the gentleman that even told the officers that that's not the guy, you know, and they still continue to beat her and have the dogs on her after he told them. They ran him back in the store.
I read the paper, my paperwork fell, and it said that I shoved an officer and I flipped him on his back.
They would say that my daughter attacked them. Come on. She's 5'2", 115 pounds soaking wet, and that she attacked a 200-pound man.
There were dogs and guns drawn on me. Like, I would never do anything like that.
Every day I have to change her bandages, and I see the injuries that she has. It's really hard for me.
On Monday, we kind of did our own little investigation. We came to the store, spoke with the manager. He told me that the police had actually caught the guy that had the machetes. And that's what's a shame. I don't know for sure, but the guy probably didn't have a scratch on him.
He still tried to handcuff me and flip me over while the dog was still biting me, and I'm yelling out like, I didn't do anything, I'm a female, like, why are you doing this to me?
Why should my daughter be charged with a crime? All she did was stop to drink some water because it was 100 and something degrees. That's ridiculous.
We gotta find a way not to let this kind of thing happen ever, ever. If a kid can't stop on a bicycle and take a drink of water just to take a break.
She was coming home to celebrate Father's Day with me. It's not right. It's not right.
So Anthony, here's my question for you, okay? You basically is white Panamanian guy, right? You live in the U.S.?
No.
Okay. What would it take for you to be? Can you show me the photo? No, just the photo, the one photo. Can I, dude? You're from Panama?
Yeah, I went to high school in Florida.
All right. What would it take for you to be these guys? What would it take for you to be these guys? If this happened to you, if that was your sister, or your mother, or your neighbor, or your girlfriend, what more would it take for you to be these guys? Talk into the mic. Talk into the mic.
Well, like, I don't know the situation, like, if it happened to me, like, how I would react. But I feel like it's more like a community thing. You know,
It's more what?
like a community thing. Let's say something happens to me and someone who's like same like me happened the same thing and keep happening to them.
Yeah.
Like we will like get together and try to solve this.
Yeah. Well, what time would you just throw your hands up? At what point and just say no and be on the streets protesting? Like at what point? Like how many times would it have to happen?
I wouldn't know to ask. Like,
Dudes, can I just ask you all? Let me ask everybody the same question. You see this? I found that video quickly. I can get like, I can find videos like this all over the internet. I mean, people getting killed doesn't happen a lot, but people getting beat up by the police happens a fair amount, and it's much more likely to happen to black and brown people than it is, including dark-skinned Panamanians, than light-skinned Panamanians. So it doesn't take long, and even if it doesn't happen a lot, it does. Even if it doesn't, how many videos does it take to watch to be afraid enough to say, no, I'm going in the streets? Like one more time. Like how many times would it have to happen? Look at this young girl who's like nothing. The fact in some ways that we could watch that video and we all don't go out into the streets, black, white, and brown, really maybe says something about our characters. Like, why aren't we all going out there and saying, no, this is unacceptable? It's absolutely unacceptable. It doesn't take much. And listen, man, dudes, this is especially for white people, okay? Every person of color watches these videos. Every person of color gets the videos passed around. They might not come into your inbox, but they come into other people's inboxes. Dude. Yeah. And they come into the inboxes because it's about protection. It's like, listen, look at this happen. And so maybe I'm not interested in what the police are doing, but other people are interested in what the police are doing. And when it goes around and around and around, people respond. And so when I go, can you go back to the football players? Do you got it? So listen, man. You know what these guys are responding to? You know what they're responding to? Too many of these kinds of videos. And so I can say, dudes, why are you taking a knee? What are you doing? What's this about? But listen, man, I'm not watching the videos. It's not my community. It's like most of these guys, they're also not from the upper middle class black community. Remember, half of all black people in the U.S. are middle class. So it's like what Abby, right? It's what Abby said. It's like, listen, man, it's like we're just like you. We are middle class, upper middle class, whatever the case is, right? It's like, dude, not these guys. Most of these guys are actually not upper middle class. They're much more likely to be in the middle class, lower middle class, working class, etc. And so, like, man, who am I to tell them what they should and shouldn't respond to? Good for them, actually, that they're responding to videos like this. Good for them. Like, they're out fighting the battle for power, against power. It's like, come on, man. So the question for you is, dude, what would have to happen for you to be out in the streets, man? Would it have to happen to your sister?
I feel like it will have to happen to people like me that have the same, like, go through the same things like me, and they're like, wait, I feel like now that I'm scared that it's going to happen to someone else from where I am. So.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get out and respond if it's only happening to somebody else, if we don't see it in that way. But y'all, listen, man, you do understand that I can find videos like this all over the place. It's not hard. So can you. It's not very difficult. So it's like, how do we respond? So I gave you some numbers to say, hey, look, maybe it's not as bad as whatever it is. Get the numbers right. But, some stuff is, man.